Hi guys and welcome, gnembon here with a short video like an extra content to our fun farms, where we have a second look at one of the favorites of the series, the skeleton powered witch farm, which by accident has gained 100% efficiency badge due to the new bugs with mob spawning introduced in 1.9. It received a lot of feedback from all of you, and some other technical players created variations of this design. I will link Ilmango's and Dockham77 team's designs as well, and decided to use some of these ideas and address the issues that some of you have encountered, mostly related to handling skeletons. But let us start with the back office, with our 3 steel guards. In the original design we had 2 water streams per floor, as water couldn't reach far enough to flush the golems fully from one side to the other. The Dockham and his team's idea was to use a single water stream, one wide, just start a bit higher so it reaches to the end. I decided to keep the walkway for the golems too wide, the reason being I want the stream to be a little bit diagonal for the golem to be pressed against the front barrier, because this puts him a little bit closer to the skeletons. This seems like not too much, but it actually matters, as he stays within reach of the corner skeletons for 5 of their shots rather than 3 if you use something thicker like a cobble wall or a full block. I also used pressure plate instead of a tripwire to switch water currents, as it cannot be washed away with water and helps to direct properly the water currents. I had to add here a small bump with these glass panes, you can use iron bars as well, to allow a single stream to reach to the other end. Single water streams allow the use of 2 dispensers per floor instead of 4, which essentially reduces the redstone components requirement for the farm itself by half, because this is the only redstone used in the farm alone. Doc's and his team's idea was also to synchronize the streams, taking input just from one golem, but this leads to a more clunky solution, and desynchronizing these water streams actually helps to even out the lag with water updates. One more note about installing the golems. Since the roof is less than 3 blocks high, you need to start at the bottom and build your way up with the golems, replacing floor tiles as you go up. Obvious addition is the use of forever falling sand entities to kill the arrows, the phenomenon found originally by Galia. Forever falling sand entities is formed when the sand is dropped on a fence, where its larger hitbox repels it upwards and prevents them from hitting the ground, which in this case is considered any block that's not air. It can be better observed if we take a fence gates, as we can manipulate the collision box. We can drop the sand entity on a fence gates and it will keep its entity form, but when we drop it 1 block lower on this fence, it drops as an item because he thinks it's landed in a block, which in this case is an open fence gate and not air. We can keep the sand as an entity if we let it drop 1 more block so it stops against in a proper air block. The cool property of falling sand entities is the fact that they are invulnerable to any damage and can absorb arrows, as we can use it here to keep the entity count in check. 2 rows of them should do the job. Dockham's design also used forever falling sand entities to stop the arrows going directly towards the golems and reduce the required size of the water curtain, but this makes the entire farm reliant on the rather unintended feature of the game, which may be gone at some point, which would make you rebuild the entire farm. Using 5 deep water curtain is safer to use from this perspective. I also replaced floors from slabs to packed ice. This makes the witches slide, making them fall down almost 100% of the time after just 1 shot from the skeletons, which is not super necessary with one witch farm setup, but it's a nice touch overall. This required lowering the skeletons by half a block. This can be simply accomplished, that's Ilmango's idea, by just keeping them in minecarts, and since in 1.10 skeletons can shoot from minecarts no problem, this simplifies a bit the skeleton delivery procedure in survival. Speaking of that, it seems like the main problem people had with this farm was handling the skeletons. However, we can use the setup here to select applicable skeletons, equip them with bows, and send them to the respective positions. And to the point that in this area we can pretty much stay in game mode 0 without them noticing us because of the glass safety barriers here. For added safety we can always use invisibility potions so we can handle some skeleton operations even without the glass barriers. Overall, we can grab the skeletons from the holding area, which can come from a skeleton spawner that's nearby, or we can build a quick and dirty general purpose mob spawner, and just kill off all the mobs that are not skeletons at the first place. The mobs are then picked up by this minecart and dropped to the equipping cell, where they will be shot at with a pumpkin. If they don't have any head armor and can pick up items, we know that they would be able to pick up bows as well. If they end up having an enchanted bow already, we can kill them off anyways, as it wouldn't be straightforward to determine if they swap their bows or not. And we have plenty of skeletons coming our way, so that's not an issue. All these mobs we can direct to this magma block with a cactus and a hopper minecart designed at the magma block to pick up all the loot and get the minecarts back. When you get a guy that can pick up the pumpkin and has a normal bow, we can drop a punch 2 and flame bow on him from this chest here, and when he picks it up, directs him to the appropriate free cell. Cell selection process is manual in this setup, which I think is sufficient in this case. The only automatic part is this detector rail here at the end, which closes the fence gates after the skeleton, so they would stay here even if they would miraculously escape from the minecart. In this case, skeletons, once they assume the position, they will be safe forever. But in normal world, if they see any target on the back of the farm, like a stray survival player, it is possible for them to shoot accidentally other skeletons and get in a fight, so you might want to keep this loading contraption just in case, to load with new skeletons. You can notice that I dropped them on trapdoors which have a top flat surface but still prevent mobs from spawning, but also gives enough clearance for the skeleton below them to drop from the rail to their spots as well. I also moved the vertical trapdoors here to the farm area. At first I wasn't sure if they still allowed witches to spawn here, but now I can get the confirmation that it wouldn't prevent them from spawning here, so that's good. The farm, because of the skeletons shooting also diagonally, don't have any dark spots, as they will shoot down witches spawning at any position in the farm. Now, the farm not only works best in the hard mode, but is considerably harder to put it together on less difficult settings. Skeletons' ability to pick up loot changes dramatically with difficulty. On easy there is no way they would pick up anything, and you need them to pick special bows for the farm to work effectively. Also, they will shoot all over the place, which would make arrows to stick to the ceiling, drop wall, and even potentially hit a golem in rare occasion, if they would aim a little bit too high. On normal, if the chunk has been in the game for a long time, chances of skeleton to pick up loot is about 10%, and their aim is a little bit better, but if the chunk is fresh, they wouldn't be able to pick up loot either. On hard, the skeletons almost never miss a target, so ceiling and back wall is free from arrows. Golems will never get shot. My golems here were spawned with only 1 heart of health and they survived a few hour test run no problem, which helped to prove the point. And all the arrows land gracefully on the sand entities. On newly generated chunks, chances for skeletons to pick up loot are about 30%, and on older chunks about 50%, so collecting 15 skeletons is gonna be very easy task on hard mode and very hard task on easy mode. After you assemble the farm, you can always get rid of the skeleton loader. If you make sure that they will never see any target at the back, that would be sufficient for the farm running for a very long time. There are a few blocks, namely those below the detector rails, that may cancel some spawn attempts that may end up in the farm, but the drop in performance is so small you wouldn't be able to measure it in normal circumstances. However, the farm presents itself better without the loader, that's for sure. At the end, I'll leave you guys with this awesome view that you get with combining dynamic lighting from Optifine with flame bows from skeletons. I hope you liked the video. If you did, please leave me a like, share and subscribe if you haven't done it already. And see you in the next one. Bye bye.